good news about the Lonesome Roads Conspiracy Theory Hour on the Fox News channel is that fewer and fewer people have been watching. The bad news is, if he's going, Glenn Beck is going with a supernova of the stupid. This morning on his Ram, Beck and a caller agreed that the liberals are enemies of the Heavenly Father. Yesterday on his TV show, Beck unveiled his Mount Rushmore of 1960s civil rights icons. One person doing God's work was Beck's Fox News channel boss.
Panthers and the threats causing Congress to pass the civil rights, that's bullcrap. God did it by working through people and inspiring people like Martin Luther King and C.L. Jackson. And yes, white people like Bobby Kennedy. And dare I say it, oh my gosh, I'm going to set the world on fire with this, Roger Ailes. I think he spent some time, the civil rights movement.
About an hour and a half. Roger Ailes in 2003. I booked Martin Luther King and sat in rooms like this with Martin Luther King, talked to him. He's a legendary civil rights leader for booking Martin Luther King on the Mike Douglas Show. Later on, Herman's Hermits.
Glenn Beck is not there to tell you the truth about what happened in history. He's there to lie about it for Roger Ailes, former right-wing Nixon political operative during Watergate, and now by no coincidence, also head of Fox News.
Congress to pass the civil rights, that's bullcrap. God did it by working through people and inspiring people like Martin Luther King and C.L. Jackson. And yes, white people like Bobby Kennedy. And dare I say it, oh my gosh, I'm going to set the world on fire with this, Roger Ailes.
Republican operative Roger Ailes has built a career exploiting racial fears for political gain. Consulting for Richard Nixon, he helped manipulate racial hatred.
All the Jews are about close by. There's this strange malignancy now seems to creep up. Everyone's a Jew. Eller's a Jew. Malcolm's a Jew. Negroes, have you ever noticed? They're anti-Negro spies. They're not intellectual enough. Not smart enough. They're not smart enough to be spies. The Jews are intellectual enough. The Jews are born spies.
Consulting for the first President Bush, he helped engineer the racially charged attacks on Michael Dukakis.
His revolving door prison policy gave weekend furloughs to first-degree murderers not eligible for parole. While out, many committed other crimes like kidnapping and rape, and many are still at large.
The ad where they had these guys coming out of prison, and the black guy was the only one who looked up at the camera and saw it. I said, these are diabolical minds behind this thing.
That's the guy to be afraid of. This was calculated to emphasize the one African American here.
He even produced Rush Limbaugh's failed television show. And now he's waging his toughest political campaign yet, as president of the Fox News channel.
Viewer warning, some offensive material coming up.
Barack Obama's spiritual mentor.
A black man living in a country government's lie.
Van Jones showed up wearing combat boots and holding a Black Panther book bag.
This is Willie Horton, who was used to destroy Michael Dukakis' campaign. Times 1,000.
He is Bill Ayers and Reverend Wright.
They hate white Americans, and they especially hate the white man.
She really is a believer in the racial spoils system.
Should white Americans be concerned about Judge Sotomayor?
That's a racist statement by any calculation.
I would hope, she said, that a wise Latina woman with the richness of her experiences.
This is all affirmative action. Reparations. This president, I think, has exposed himself as a guy over and over and over again who has a deep-seated hatred for white people.
Fox News is now home to the same racial attacks he pioneered as a Republican operative.
So we just expect to do fine, balanced journalism.
DAP.
That's dap. Husband and a wife with their little greeting.
That's
wonderful. A lot of people
I'm
confused.
At that and I'm wondering, are they really trying to say something more?
Yeah,
Could they even be jihadists,
What?
perhaps? That's what one person suggested on Fox News.
Oh, God. Help us.
A fist bump, a pound, a terrorist fist jab. The gesture everyone seems to interpret differently.
So we just expect to do fine, balanced journalism.
And now we have what some are reading as a suggestion that somebody knock off Obama. Well, both we could.
Well, you know. So we just expect to do fine, balanced journalism.
Check out the banner on this. This is an interview about Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Do you see what it says there?
I don't.
Outraged liberals, quote, stop picking on Obama's baby mama.
What?
Where we find it lacking, and certainly there could be that interpretation because of my background, but I left politics a number of years ago and have run a news organization for the last 2 years.
Remember Nixon, Prescott Bush's protege? Prescott Bush, of course, chief American financier of Adolf Hitler, and the patriarch of the Bush family, who also started Fox News. And who now feed you all this crap on your TV called The Glenn Beck Show. Glenn Beck is the biggest liar in America. His lies are so off the chart professional historians laugh. They laugh. Not because of some conspiracy but because his claims are so patently false. In other words, intentionally deceitful. Glenn Beck is not stupid, he is unprincipled and driven by greed. He fully knows the information he is spinning on Fox News is utter deceit, so detached from reality professional historians are laughing at him. But he does not care. Accuracy with history is not the point of the show. The point of the show is to spin history so that Republicans who are being exposed by what they have done in history, will be able to be voted back into power, despite their history.
And there's not a problem that he doesn't have on his hands. He's, as a baseline, you got to remember this guy probably has the world record for being condemned by civil rights and advocacy organizations, usually more than once, going back to his top 40 days in radio.
But now we know that Roger Ailes was a civil rights leader, so he's got some street cred via Roger Ailes. I got to say, I didn't know Roger Ailes was a civil rights leader. Was he at Selma with John Lewis?
Well, I mean, if you live in a world where Barack Obama is a communist and Van Jones is a black nationalist revolutionary, then sure, why not? Roger Ailes was a giant of the civil rights movement.
Is this, I've always wondered in watching Beck if he is the sort of the personification of the guy who thinks because somebody tells him something that it is necessarily true and he's the only one who knows about it. And so there's a sort of wonderful confidence that he just has been privately revealed something that people don't know, like Roger Ailes was a civil rights leader. Is that the baseline, as you said, of the Glenn Beck experience? Like, boy, I found out something great. You've been lied to all this time. 2 + 2 = 86.
Well, that's certainly what he's selling, is the grand sort of scheme, the big map with the map key that only he has possession of, and only by watching his show with a notebook and pencil will you be able to follow along and figure out exactly who the devils are and who the angels are and be able to fight on the side of the angels. Yeah.
It was crazy for you to keep going on and on like Levine and Hannity and Hewitt. It's like you're all brainwashed. And my last comment is, no matter what Obama does, you will still criticize him because I believe you're brainwashed. You're just, and I hate to say it, but I think you're a brainwashed Nazi. Anyone who could believe in torture, there's got to be something wrong with him.